Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is the Black Manga Critic here. Um, Definitely had to do this today. Man, and I've just been kind of thinking about it all day. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things where you think about how you will react when certain people like pass away or something like that, right? Not necessarily like people that are like incredibly close to you that you know, right? Like on a one-on-one sort of like basis. But like, maybe like a celebrity or some figure outside of like your, close circle that like heavily influence like who you are as a person or something like that. And like, yo, y'all remember that stream? What was it? Dustin did a stream on it was like one of those March Madness streams, right? And he was and the cartoon, it was like a cartoon March Madness stream, and all the cartoons went against each other. And like I think all of us knew that like at the end of that like cartoon March Madness like bracket, like SpongeBob was going to win it. Like we understood that. After a certain point, we were like, yo, like SpongeBob will win it at the end. And that's what happened. Like SpongeBob won that, like it just swept, just easy work. Why? Because SpongeBob is an amazing just creation by this dope, just like human being, Steven Hillenburg. Rest in peace. And that, I think, like really just like not just me, but like a lot of y'all that are here or out there in this like massive world, like we're influenced by SpongeBob SquarePants. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those cartoons that it transcends like its medium. You know what I mean? Like there's just like television, and like SpongeBob did its thing, it's still doing its thing in television, and it just transcend that. And there's like, a play that like about that, a Broadway musical. It's come through in GIF form, like meme form. Like when that happens, and we have like so many different moments, right? That it's not making fun of SpongeBob in any way by any means. It's just like SpongeBob was such a clever, like it is such a clever show. And just the humor is just so on point at times. And I think a lot of us agree that like those early seasons, man, those early seasons are just flames, man. Flames. All right, Amadou, Otaku Studio, Strata, what's up? Legendary. Like I don't even say the word legendary often, but like SpongeBob SquarePants is a legendary show, right? It's a legendary cartoon. It's a legendary animated show. All of that. I think what I really sort of just want to get into is like, like the early, like I want to talk about a lot of it. I want to talk about all of it, because like there's stuff like for like the later seasons, right? The hash slinging slasher, you know what I mean? Like stuff like that. Like there's stuff that's funny and it's like cool and it's like later on in those seasons. But I think like there's something like particularly special about the early seasons. Part of it is the art. Part of it is the art, the way that certain things are animated. Not just I don't want to even say so much animations. Partly the animation and partly the way in which things were drawn. Right, there's a certain aesthetic that early SpongeBob has that sort of elevated the humor in a way. You know what I mean? Like there's a couple of things, right? So like for me, thinking about that, there is the episode where there are two episodes. There's the episode where the first episode, right? The first episode is like the art, like somebody was, or a group of people were just putting in work with that art, right? Like when SpongeBob is like sweating because he has no water, which is funny, right? Because it's like he is like desperately in need of water, but he's like sweating out water. You know what I mean? Like he is like, it's funny. It's like even that is like funny, because it's like, dude, like why are you sweating? You're a sponge. Why are you losing water? But you need water so desperately. It's like even little things like that just it's just so good. But what I want to sort of focus on in that moment is like the art there is like it's beautiful, but also grotesque and like it's dope. Like somebody worked extremely hard on that. You know what I mean? On that art, and like it just adds to the humor of that moment. And you're just like, but you're also like can't look away because it's so funny and you're laughing at the same time. And it's like stuff like that. That's just like early SpongeBob is filled with that. It's filled with moments like that. You know what I mean? Just like moments where like you'll like an actual like person's arm is superimposed onto like Sandy's like tiny squirrel arms. So she looks incredibly like strong. You know what I mean? It's like it's those little things that like just work. They just really, really, really work. Sometimes it's not even animation. It's like literally having like shifts into like the real sort of world, right? Where there's an episode where, you know, Sandy's like, oh, y'all couldn't, you know, survive up on the surface, and they go out to the surface and like they shift into the real world, and they're just like, you know, there's literally like a person holding a starfish and a person holding like a sponge and like stuff like, and you know, and a little squid like and crab like figure or whatever, plush toy, something like that, and they're just like dying. It's just like that stuff is so great. It's just so great. It just does so many little things in terms of humor, and it just like kind of showcases to you like when you're very young, like the sort of possibilities and the like spectrum that is like humor and what that can do and how you can showcase humor in different ways. The Rock Band episode that's classic. Sweet, sweet, sweet victory. Yeah, like it's just so good. It's so good. And what I love about that episode, right, is like it's not just that the song is like dope. Right? It's not that just the song is dope. It's like there is a legit like attachment to the narrative and what's happening, and the fact that like you feel for Squidward because he's like trying to like best his musical, like, well, he's just like his rival, right? Like this other Squilliam, like he's just Squilliam, right? He's just trying to like best this dude because the dude just like continues to like laud his achievements over Squidward. And it's like you feel for dude because you I think at some level, I think a lot of us understand that. We understand like that we might have had someone in the past or even now that like we felt like, why can't I best this person? You know what I mean? Or certain people or whatever. And so like when the community comes out to help Squidward, like, and they just come through for him like that, it's like, it's such a good feeling, right? It's not just like some gimmick. It's not just like, oh, they're singing Sweet, Sweet Victory and they're singing that song. And it's like, whatever. It's like, this is a moment and you feel for Squidward and you identify with him and you empathize with him. And when it has this like amazing, like just euphoric feeling of like success, you feel like you've succeeded along with him. There's so much that's going on with that episode. You know what I mean? It's just really, really well done. Man. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like usually Squidward is just like sour, cynical, you know, things don't work out for him. Sometimes of his own right. Sometimes like, you know, because of what he's done, right? Sometimes it's his own fault, sometimes it's not, right? But in that moment, you're like, I'm rocking with you, Squidward. I'm rocking with you. So it's just like that's like a really, really good episode. I love that episode. I think it's so great. And it also like the characters, right? When the character, like when I forget who it is. Is it like I feel like it's like Mrs. Puff that's like playing the drum. Oh, wait, who's playing the drum? It might be Patrick. Maybe Patrick's playing the drums. But like all these people are like playing instruments, and you're not expecting them to play those certain instruments, and you're like, I like that. Like it rounds the characters out within that a specific narrative that is like the Rock Band episode in a way that's really neat. It's just neat. You know, you're just like, I didn't expect like, you know, this person to play the drums or whatever. You know, it's cool. It's cool. But you, of course, you know, SpongeBob is going to be the one, like, you know, he's going to be the one singing because like SpongeBob is immensely talented. And that's another episode that I guess I could kind of like just shift into. That's another one of my favorite episodes, doing like the talent show where SpongeBob is like, just like, yo, like, all right, who was it? I forgot who was it. who's trying to set it up. Oh no, Squidward's trying to set up a talent. Yeah, Squidward's setting up a talent show that's gonna be held at the Krusty Krab, right? And like Squidward's like, yo, it's gonna be me. I'm gonna be the best because I'm the most talented and I'm smarter than all these losers that are working at the Krusty Krab, even though I work at the Krusty Krab. You know what I mean? It's just a really, really well done episode because SpongeBob is like that guy or that person, like, you know, in life that you might not take notice of because, you know, they're just like, you know, doing some sort of job that is like whatever, that's like background, like that's in the background or whatever. And then, you know, oh snap, like SpongeBob is actually like, well, not even like SpongeBob is like is in the episode SpongeBob is not like talented necessarily, right? It's just like he's just mopping up stuff. He's just mopping up. That's all he's doing, right? It's like he's just doing that. But it's funny because it kind of flips like that idea on its head. It's like, yes, there are people who, you know, do certain things and they should be celebrated, right? It's like janitors should be celebrated. People who do certain bits of manual labor should be celebrated. But it's like in this episode, it's like taken to this like extreme, right? And it's like dude is just cleaning up like he's just cleaning up, he's just mopping, right? And then he comes out and he starts mopping and like, yeah, and Squidward is doing like all this like extra like contemporary dance like stuff, all these contemporary dance moves, you know what I mean? And they're just like, nah, that's whack. And it's so funny, man. That's like one of the best. I love that episode. You know what I mean? Yo, I'm looking at the chat and just like, this is dope. Like when he's like, no, Patrick, mayonnaise is not an instrument. And it's like little jokes like that are just so dope. You know what I mean? Because it's like like Patrick is just like he's Patrick. You know what I mean? And I think Patrick, for me, like Patrick is just like absent-minded. He's just an absent-minded like individual, like more than anything else. That's what it is. Like he's just supremely absent-minded. Got my hot chocolate. All right. And that's a really good episode. Everyone else is doing something that is actually, you know, pretty cool in terms of like talents and stuff, right? Pearl is actually a pretty good like cheerleader, but it's like there's like such a like, but she doesn't like she's just like not paying attention to like the her surroundings, and she's jumping and she's like making a whole mess. Like she's making a whole mess, and you just laugh at it because it's like, yo, Pearl, you are literally breaking almost everything in the Krusty Krab. Like you gotta chill. But at the same time, it's like, yo, like you can cheerlead. Like she's pretty good. So she's just focusing on that. It's little things like that that are just like, you know, they're not like the supremely funny parts of the episode, but everything comes together. Like that's one thing that's like great. It's very like Simpsons-esque in that way. Like SpongeBob, I think in a lot of ways was sort of influenced by the Simpsons in some ways. There's like jokes that have these levels to them and steps to them. Like they're sort of interconnected. There's a video that Super Eye Patch Wolf did on the Simpsons and like the fall of the Simpsons. But there's one. There are two instances, but I want to focus on the one instance. The two instances are connected, but I want to focus on the one instance where when he talks about the Simpsons, and this is still going to be related to the SpongeBob. I want to get to that, but like in the Simpsons, there's one bit where like Bart in the Simpsons, Bart loses his soul, right? He sells his soul to Milhouse for like $5, I think, or something like that. And though throughout the whole like rest of the episode after that moment where he sells his soul, he's trying to get his soul back, right? So there's one instance where like Bart's just like he's riding his bicycle, and then a street sweeper comes and he's about to get hit by the street sweeper, and then the street sweeper sweeps up the bicycle. The bicycle comes back out, like gets coughed up by the street sweeper. It looks totally fine. And Bart's like, oh, that's cool. Then the bike breaks down. Then, then the bike, Bart tries to ride it. Then the bike breaks down. And then the street sweeper, the driver of the street sweeper just starts like laughing maniacally. He's just like, and it's just like, it's like absurd laughter. And you just laugh at that because I'm like, dude, why are you laughing at this boy whose bike has just broken down? It's just funny. And then the street sweeper is so preoccupied with his own laughter that he falls into like a subway, like a subway staircase. It's just like, yo, And it's just so funny, man. It's just like there are layers to that joke. It's like a long running joke within one episode. And like SpongeBob has that, where it's like, let's say like if you think of like let's say like the episode that I was just talking about, right? The episode with the talent show, right? Where SpongeBob is just like he's just kidding. He's just cleaning. And like they just ramp up the joke, right? So the joke just has these layers where he's just like he's just walking around. Then he starts cleaning. Then he leaves, and then they start, and they're like, oh, cool. And then Squidward starts trying to like get the applause that SpongeBob is getting, and eventually they start throwing tomatoes at Squidward because they're like, get out of here, you boo, you suck, boo. You know what I mean? And then SpongeBob starts cleaning the tomatoes, and like they're cheering for him. And it's just like really, really funny. It's like these levels to it that are just really, really dope. And I think like a lot of shows like SpongeBob have taken have been influenced by something like The Simpsons or whatever, or even older cartoons. So I think like SpongeBob, like those, especially those early seasons, really took that to heart. That like jokes aren't just right. That like jokes aren't just you know, basic or anything like that. Like there are parts to them, and when you put those parts together in a really neat way, they become infinitely more funny. You know, so that like SpongeBob had that in spades. It just had it in spades. Like the Krusty Krab pizza episode was like, yo, just ridiculous, man. Man. Oh, the cursing episode was so funny because you were just like, what? Like, and the thing for me is like, I remember just like laughing at it because it was like, they're not even saying nothing that's like intense, but it's funny because they're like, right? It's like, again, like episodes like that were usually are usually commentaries on like real life sort of things where parents are just kind of going too far in terms of censoring certain words, right? Like kids like real, like if a kid says like shut up in, you know, the class, like that's a no. You gotta get on that immediately. That's like, that's not something that you can like let slide. But like in like the 90s, if a kid says shut up, you'd be like, hey, you know, like it wasn't like a super intense thing. Now it's like if a kid says shut up, you better handle that. You better handle that child. Like not like, you know, I'm not saying like obviously like no like intense like punishment or anything like that, but it's like you got to make sure that that child knows this is not something that they can say within the classroom and all these types of things, you know? Man. No, yeah. Oh, is the rock bottom one? Is that the episode where I'm thinking of, yeah? Is that the episode where they go to like that place? It's literally like rock bottom. It's like it's like a place that like is extremely creepy, and like I think SpongeBob takes the bus and he goes a little bit too far or something like that. And he ends up in this like this super creepy like area, and then tries to get back, and then he's trying to catch the bus, but the bus keeps like leaving, and then like, and SpongeBob is trying to get like a barnacle bar or something. I don't know what it's called, like a kelp bar. I think a kelp bar. And he's trying to get a kelp bar, and like every time he touches a kelp bar, the bus starts moving. And it's just like stuff like that is really, really funny because I relate to that so much, like so much. I think a lot of us have the feeling like when we're waiting for a bus, but the bus will come when we decide to, like, let's say like maybe we're like, oh, maybe I can hop into the store real quick and go get something to drink, you know, and I can do that really quick, or get something like get a bag of chips or whatever, right? Whatever it is that you eat like for a snack, whatever, like, and maybe you can get that real quick and then come back outside and get back to the bus stop, and hopefully the bus won't be there yet. But then as soon as you go into the store, like that's when the bus, like, right, and you're about to pay for your stuff, that's when the bus decides to come and stop and pick up whoever it is that's about to pick up, and then leave before you leave the store. It's like that's the kind of stuff, again, like the humor it's layered. Like it's not just like, oh, here's a joke that's just trying to be funny for the sake of being funny. And sometimes those jokes are fine, but like when you have jokes like that take up the entire sort of narrative, it's just, it loses its heart. And The Simpsons kind of had stuff like that, where like The Simpsons just kind of lost its heart a bit. It lost the layers that it had. SpongeBob I think dealt with the same thing. It's just like the earlier seasons, like those sort of first half, like they just had so much heart and so many layers, and they commented on things that you immediately identified with. Like you immediately identified with them. Really good stuff. Really good stuff. You know what I mean? Just dope. And like, and there was like, man, there's so many moments. One moment I loved, right? Patrick, and like, Michael, facts. Like Patrick, like the person who's like just wakes up super early to like eat a burger. It's like I love that because it's like those, like that's like not everybody, but that's so many people, right? It's like so many people like are like, I'm trying to. Sorry, it's like so many people are like that. So many people are just like, I need to like. I need to like, go out at 3 a.m. to like get something to eat. I don't do that now because like the neighborhood that I live in is not like, it's not really amenable to that. It's like, like the delis like aren't really any, well there is, but like they all close like super early. All the stores kind of close super early. You know what I mean? So it's hard to like be like, hey, I'm gonna go out at 3 a.m. and like go get something, unless you one have a car or unless you're willing to like wait an hour for the bus to go somewhere else, get something to eat, then come back in an hour. It's like, nah, you're not trying to do that. You know what I mean? You're not trying to do that. You're not trying to do that. So, it's just like, it's just SpongeBob commented. It critiqued things. I wouldn't say like sometimes it was a critique on things. Other times it was just like saying like, like this is something that we identify with and this is something that we experience. So just dope cartoon. Like, and I think that's an understatement. I really do. I really think that's an understatement. I want to get into like some of my favorite moments, or even like favorite episodes. One episode I definitely want to talk about. There are a few episodes that I think are just like brilliantly done, but there's one that I think is like really dope. There's one that's really dope. SpongeBob is like definitely my top 5. I think SpongeBob is like top. I think SpongeBob is top 3, honestly. I think SpongeBob is top 3, if I had to think about it. I think SpongeBob is in there. Invader Zim is in there. Simpsons is in there. In my top 3. And then when I think about like 5, like like Avatar's a cartoon, so I'm gonna add Avatar, The Last Airbender, Korra as well, because I think Korra does some really great things. And I sort of package those two together. And then Powerpuff Girls, definitely. I love Powerpuff Girls. Look, there are so many cartoons that are so good that it's very difficult for me to like be like, oh, like this is the top 5. I'm gonna say it like that. But I think most of the time when I make a top 5, usually The Simpsons is in there, Invader Zim is in there, SpongeBob is in there. Those 3 are always in there. And then usually like I have to like think about Avatar because I'm not sure if I'm classifying it as a cartoon or I'm not, but usually I do, so that's in there. And then Powerpuff Girls is a cartoon that like I adore. I think it's so well done, and it does similar things that like SpongeBob and like, you know what I mean, like that, like I think Hanna-Barbera like sort of like cartoons do. Like they're just funny and they have this humor, and there are characters that just are really important, and they're way more important than you realize when you're a kid. Like him, like HIM is such an important character. Like he's so important. I love him to death. Like you know what I mean? Like him is like an icon, I think, to me. Like he's like one of my like icons because he's just fabulous. He's just like yas, all that. Like that's one person that I love to death. He's just doing what he's gonna do, and he's doing it fabulously. Like can't say enough about it. Can't say enough. You know what I mean? But Gargoyles is really, really good. That one is heavily underrated, I think, by a lot of people. But I think a lot of people also like rate it very highly. So that one was really, really good. I love coming home watching Gargoyles on the WB. You know what I mean? Good stuff. SpongeBob though. One of my favorite episodes. It's an episode that like there are certain episodes, right? When you talk with like friends that are into the stuff that you're into, you know what I mean? Like when you mention something from like that thing, immediately everybody is on the same page, right? And like SpongeBob is one of those cartoons that just does that. Like for me, like Invader Zim does that, but like I think The Simpsons and SpongeBob do that. You're on the same page. When somebody mentions something, no. If you're into The Simpsons and I mention steamed hams, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Like, and you just start bursting out into laughter because you know the entire narrative that's behind steamed hams. Like, you know the entire narrative, just like the absurdity of that, right? And like the relationship between Superintendent Chalmers and Principal Skinner, like the way that Skinner tries to like pawn off Krusty Burgers as steamed hams. It's just ridiculous, right? And then before he was saying steamed hams, he was saying steamed clams, but it smelled like he was trying to make a roast beef. It was just so ridiculous. And like while most of this is happening, his kitchen is just on fire, and he never deals with it. You know what I mean? Like he never deals with his kitchen being on fire. It's just like absurd, but it's so funny. And like so like that, right? But like SpongeBob has certain moments. For me, one of those moments is like when whatchamacallit? Oh man. Right? Like it's like if somebody like starts like singing like the Krusty Krab pizza. Second someone talk about Krusty Krab pizza, you already know what it is. If you're around people and they love SpongeBob SquarePants and you start the Krusty Krab pizza is the pizza, you know what I mean? Like you already know what it is, right? And then somebody in the group is gonna like just go like ridiculous. They're gonna go into it. They're gonna start singing the soulful part of the Krusty Krab pizza song. They be like Krusty Krab, like they're gonna go in. You know what I mean? They're gonna go in. You know what I mean? Come on, son. You know? Yeah, come on. You already know. Yo, come on. You already know. Okay? So it's just stuff like that it brings people together. It brings your friends together. When your friends went home and they watched SpongeBob, you know what I mean? I have his friends. U is for ukulele. Come on, man. And it's for anyone and anytime at all. You know what I mean? Like, come on, fun. You know what it is. So it's just like stuff like that, right? The Krusty Krab pizza, campfire, the fun song. And what I love about those moments is like, it's not just the moment, right? But it's like, oh yeah, that's a good moment. That's a good uranium bombs. Yo, Plankton though. Plankton is like, he might be like in my top. He's definitely in my top 5 like SpongeBob characters. Like Plankton is one of the best, I think, characters. Period. Yo, I can't think about Plankton singing that song. If I think about it, I can't. I won't stop laughing. Plankton is ravioli, give me the pormioli. It's just like he has so many one-liners. Like he's just so good. Plankton is such a good character, right? It's like when Plankton goes into the device that like scans like the like what like a product is made of, and like Plankton is like 1% evil, 99% hot gas, and it's like it's just so funny because it's like that's like literally like any character that's like Plankton, right? In a TV show, cartoon, whatever. Like right, it's like clear that they are like evil in this like very like funny sort of way, but like they always saying they're gonna do something and then they don't do it. You know what I mean? They never succeed. Like they're not literally, but like they're full of hot air. You know what I mean? Like they don't get nothing done. So it's a joke because like on one sense, kids will laugh at that because kids laugh at anything that deals with like farts or gas or poo, whatever. You mention that, kid will start laughing. They will laugh. Elementary school kids laugh at that. Middle school kids laugh. Right? They just find that stuff funny. You know what I mean? Even like high school kids and adults, like we laugh like when like if someone says poo funnily, you know what I mean? Or mentions like passing gas like in a funny way. it's funny. Those things are funny. You know what I mean? But like it's stuff like that that just makes Plankton like hilarious. You know? Oh man. Karen was just like, what are you doing, Plankton? Karen was a real one. Well, Karen is a real one, right? It's just like, what are you doing? Plankton, stop. You know? Yeah, it's just like, yo, come on. Just like they were taking away all the balloons. I'm like, what? Come on. It's just like there's so many episodes that are really, really good. and whenever Plankton's in an episode, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. One of the episodes that I love as well is like the again another early episode. Like I think for me, the Texas episode is a top 5 episode. I think that is like brilliantly done. It's brilliantly done. Yo, the Hooks. Oh, we're gonna get to the Hooks episode next. We gotta talk. Yo, Hooks. The Hooks is another one. The Hooks is another for me like top 5 episode. So good. But Texas is like, woo, anytime my brothers and I get together, anytime my brothers and I get together, like for like a family gathering or whatever, my friends get together and whatever, and we talk about SpongeBob, Texas always comes up, right? Sandy singing off key. She's just like, like she's just off key. You know what I mean? She don't know what she's doing, but we understand that like she's sad. She misses Texas. She misses her hometown. A lot of us can identify with that. We feel that, right? And like we also know, we also learn like empathy. Like we learn about empathy through that episode because at first SpongeBob and Patrick are just like, they just jerks, man. Everybody's just jerks. They're like, man, Texas is whack, right? They're like, Texas is whack because like they don't want Sandy to leave. So they're like, no, like Texas is whack anyways, right? And it's like they're just being super insensitive. And so Sandy's like, what? Like she's like, you better not talk about my hometown, right? She's repping the squad, she's repping the hood, she's repping her block, right? She's repping her place, like her space, like that's what she's doing. So when you see her do that, you immediately identify with Sandy because you're like, yo, if somebody talked about my block in that way, nah, that ain't happening, right? So it's just like a funny episode, and they just like, and it's funny because it's like it's been like there's like a president where we know that Sandy is no joke. Sandy will beat down everybody under the sea. Ain't nobody beating Sandy enough. You know what I mean? Ain't nobody doing that. Ain't nobody like, Sandy got him. Sandy got them hands. All right. So once that happens, right, Patrick is just, both of them are doing too much, right? But then Patrick is like, he's doing the most. And that's one of the funniest parts of the episode because you're like, yo, Patrick is going to get it and you know he's going to get it. And when it comes, it's the funniest thing ever. He's like, dude, you know what I mean? He's like, whatchamacallit? He's like, he's like, shoes from Texas are done. It's just so funny. He's like, he's just hamming it up. He's just doing too much. And I think the funny thing is like, he's just getting into it now. At this point, I don't even think he's trying to like make Sandy upset. He's just being ridiculous. He's just like way too in the moment. And he doesn't realize that like Sandy is coming, right? And like, SpongeBob is also getting into it, you know what I mean? And then SpongeBob's like, yo, like, yeah, you know what I mean? It's like when you're with friends, and that one friend does too much, and you're like, yo, chill. You're doing too much right now. You gotta chill. And then that friend doesn't listen, and then they get what was coming to them. You know what I mean? And Sandy just eradicated Patrick. Just like done like it was a wrap, right? Lasso, pulled him, and then when Sandy got him, explode literally like a nuclear explosion, like clap. It was bad. You know what I mean? So that episode is just really funny, and then at the end, it's just really heartwarming. And you see that they tried to do something for Sandy, but it's still funny because they were just like they literally had 10-gallon like jugs as hats, and not a 10-gallon like. It was just really really funny, right? They had peas in a can pie. Like they had like a can of peas in the pie, in the pie crust. I was like, bro, that was so good. Yo, So I'm gonna get to the Hooks episode next. The Hooks episode was really dope, man. Hooks episode. I want to pull up a quote from that because my brothers and I always quote from that episode too. Like this one I gotta pull up that quote. Like it's so funny. I'm gonna look for it right now. Yeah, yeah. Let me see. I'm trying to find it. Let me go back. This ain't gonna help. I think it's here. Just give me a second. I'm like looking for it right now, but it's just so funny, man. Here we go. It's so good. Like I remember, like I can't remember word for word, but like I remember the mayonnaise part, and like that always has me rolling. Like it's just so good because like it's about like temptation and like right. It's like it's teaching kids about things that they should know about, right? Like temptation is a real thing. Like don't grab something, don't take things from strangers because the hooks literally like are strangers, right? You don't know the people that are holding the fishing lines. You don't know what people are. They just threw down bait. Like you about to get caught. Don't do it. Don't do it to yourself. It's like it's literally trying to teach, right? Like those shows, those episodes, they teach kids lessons, legitimate lessons. But it's also funny for us as adults because like the humor is like it's just so good because like we can think about like, oh man, like it's like it makes you think of like random things. It's like, yo, like are we like awful because like these fish and like sea animals are like alive and like we're killing them, or we're doing like what I mean? It makes you think on this weird level. But it's also just funny because like of moments like this where it's like Mr. Krabs is like, what did I tell you about those hooks, boy? And he's like, I'll tell you about the hooks. You ride them up and up and up. And then Patrick's like, you ride them up and up, and then you gently float back down. And Mr. Krabs is like, and do you know what happens when you don't float back down? And like that's the funniest part because Patrick, like you listen to Patrick and he's like, oh, Patrick's just having a good time. And then Mr. Krabs is like, yeah, but what happens when things go wrong? And the SpongeBob was like, gift shop. And Mr. Krabs is like, worse. You end up vacuum packed in a can of tuna with nothing to look forward to but the smell of mayonnaise. It's like, I don't know why, but the way that Mr. Krabs says that is so funny and it sounds so like intense. Like it's like you legit worry for SpongeBob and Patrick and anybody else is about to go on them hooks. Like if they get taken, they done. They go get vacuum packed. They go smell like mayonnaise, like because they gonna make tuna out of them. You know what I mean? It's just so funny. It's so funny. It's just like a great like moment because it's like you you get it as an adult because you're like, yeah, like tuna, mayonnaise, those things go together. Some people don't. Some people use different things as opposed to mayonnaise. Like some people like maybe use like a mixture of like mustard and other stuff and like whatever. But like, you understand that like it's just funny and like there were all these random things on the hooks that they're so cool and they seem like amusement park rides but they're actually extremely dangerous. It's just and then like when SpongeBob's like when the hook is on him and he can't get the hook off, it's so funny but it's also like, oh, poor SpongeBob, but you're also dying because you're like, dude, like they told you time and time again, but of course you didn't listen because children don't listen. All right, they got to learn from the mistakes. Oh man, the yo, I'll never go. It's such a good episode, man. The episode where the hibernation episode is so good. The hibernation episode is like, it's so good because again, it's like it's a cartoon, like it's teaching them about animals and like hibernation and what that is and what that might look like and why you don't mess with hibernating animals. You just don't do it. Don't do it. Leave them alone. Okay, Sandy's about to hibernate. She's going. All right. She's like, yo, I'm gonna go to sleep. Leave me alone. I'll see you in a little bit. See you in a while. All right. Go do your thing. Live your life. I'm gonna be sleeping. Leave me alone. So they sneak into Sandy's tree dome. Right. They sneak into the tree dome. Somehow it is winter. Doesn't really matter how that happened. Doesn't matter. Like I think a lot of us like, some of us care on some level, and we might try to like figure it out through like cartoon logic. But I think a lot of us are just like, yo, it's snowing, cool. This is gonna be interesting, right? So it's snowing because it's wintertime, but like I think kids understand like, yo, like animals tend to hibernate during the winter, right? So like that's what kids are like learning from that. And then Sandy is asleep, right? And they don't even see her yet. They're just like, oh snap, like Sandy's asleep. Okay, right? They have no interaction with her really until like Sandy's like, yo, you made too much noise. And she wakes up and you're like, oh, it's all over. But like when they're playing in the snow, one of the things again that I also love about SpongeBob is like the way that the cartoon takes these very sort of like things that we might take for granted, like snow and like bubbles and stuff like that, and makes them extremely like and brings out like the creativity like that sort of like packed into those sort of things. So like right and like the bubble, that's why the bubble episode is dope, because like the bubble episode is just like SpongeBob is like a like master bubble blower. You know what I mean? He's like legit like a master bubble blower, and it's like whoa, right? So that happens, and you're like, okay, this is dope. And like whatchamacallit, when so that happens, you're like, this is cool, this is actually pretty cool. And then right, he's making all these elaborate bubbles. But like in the snow episode, they're like making these like ridiculous like weapons out of the snow, and it's like Pinhead and Dirty Dan, and like, I'm Dirty Dan, no, I'm Dirty Dan. And they're making so much noise, and you're just like, the tension is literally just like, because Sandy's about to wake up, and it's not going to end well, because she is massive, and she's about to just like destroy them. And then she wakes up, and it's super funny because it's like she wakes up and it's a wrap. Like it's one of the funniest things ever, because they're like, oh no, like, and they're just like panicking, and Sandy like literally rips Patrick's like point off of his like head. It's just so funny, and it's like, oh my goodness, and this is really really funny. And it's just a good episode. It teaches like kids about hibernation, but you also laugh because you're like, Sandy is about to destroy them. Like, and this is what Sandy does. Sandy is just like one of those people that like, you get her mad, it's over for you. Oh man, give me a sec. Yeah, Mother of Pearl, Pirate on the poop deck. Yo, so many lines, man. Oh yeah, Patrick definitely took an L. Patrick always takes a major L anytime he messes with Sandy. Anytime he messes with Sandy, you immediately know he's gonna take an L. Always. Yep. Yo, the hash slinging slasher, man. Yo, that is so funny, man. Yep. Which one of you fellas is the real Dirty Dan? And then Patrick's just like, oh, I am. And she's like, ah, and it's over. Yo, Patrick, man, he too much. Was Graveyard Shift? I think was Graveyard Shift the one where I don't know. I forgot which one it was. No. That's Hashling Slash. I think that's the one. But like that reminded me of another episode, the one where they are where Sandy has like a spaceship, like because she got a spaceship. Like, cause Sandy's like a genius, right? So like she literally like she built a spaceship, that's gonna go to that's supposedly supposed to go to like to the moon or whatever. But like Patrick and SpongeBob like aren't supposed to touch it, but so of course they touch it because like that story they have to, so the story so the episode can move on and be funny. And they do, and they end up like flying, but then landing right back on in Bikini Bottom, and they still and they think they're on the moon, so they start using like the pop gun to like shoot everybody. And it's just really, really funny. You're just like, yo, SpongeBob, what are you doing? Really, really funny. Right, and SpongeBob's like, going to the moon, moon ride, moon ride, moon ride. It's just so funny, man. And it's like, those are the kind of things like usually stuff like that would be maybe kind of annoying, but it just works for SpongeBob. Like for SpongeBob, it just works. The humor just does. And everybody's like, yo, you're still in Bikini Bottom. And Sandy's trying to tell him that, and he's just like, yeah, that's what you want us to think, Moon Man. It's just so funny because SpongeBob is like, he's legit turned into like a conspiracy theorist. Like he's legit just like off the rails. I'm like, dude, SpongeBob, you gotta stop. And this is what happens with conspiracy theorists, right? Like, well, some of them, when they figure out like, oh, I've taken a little bit too far. Like this, I've done a little bit too much, right? And stuff like that. Alien embryo, yo. And he had like a hot water bottle, like pack or whatever, and it was, oh man. And they had like, and they put a flashlight under it, and like SpongeBob had his hands, and he was like, look, twins. It's so funny because you're like kids are also learning a little bit about science in that way, and it's cool. And like the episode does what it should do, and like it's supposed to teach children because it's a show for children, right? But it's also a show for adults because like the humor is just great because you're like, bruh, these two are wild. Oh yeah, the giant eraser. That one was really good. But they just start like literally like drawing and erasing things. Wild, man. Oh man. You know what I mean? It's just like it was so good. What did I wanna? Oh yeah, the man ray is ridiculous because like he's like legit like not good. Like he's just like legit like a bum. Terrible. Mermaid Man, Barnacle Boy. Come on. Y'all already know what it is. Give me 1 sec. But it's so good. SpongeBob is just so many moments, right? Obviously, like, and they were just like moments that transcend the episodes that they're in. Like, like chocolate is like classic. Oh, let me get to the Flying Dutchman. But like, and we'll get to like some of those moments definitely. The Flying Dutchman episode is really, really good. Yeah, and it's like, yeah, it's like you're good, and it's like this is like. And like kids find it funny because they're like, ha ha ha, the ship is getting destroyed, and the guys are getting angry because the ship is getting destroyed. And adults are like, yo, some of us have a friend who has terrible spatial recognition. Like their spatial awareness is awful. So if you ask them to tell you how close they are to something or how far they are to something or whatever, they will almost always be wrong. So you can't trust them when it comes to stuff like that, right? So if they're like, oh, you're good, and then all of a sudden you crash into somebody else's car, and like now you gotta take down somebody else's insurance information, they gotta take down your insurance information, and it's like, right? It's something that like adults relate to, and that's the kind of thing that, again, it's just clever. You have to really think about those jokes. You can't just be like, haha, okay, the kids are gonna find it funny, and that's it. It's like, I think sometimes there are shows where it's very clear that the creators have put in a lot of effort into what they want the show to be. Do they want it to be a show for solely children? Do they want it to be a show for children and adults? or do they want to create a cartoon that is like specifically for adults and they don't want their kids watching it, right? And SpongeBob is for both. SpongeBob is a cartoon that was for everybody. It was legit a cartoon that was for everybody, and I think it's just great, right? And like the Flying Dutchman has like this sock. He's got like this special sock. You're like, bruh, like, why is that funny? Why does he care about this sock so much? It's so ridiculous. Just really, really funny. Good moments. There's one episode with the Flying Dutchman. I think the Flying Dutchman that's really, really funny, where they're trying to find his treasure, the gold doubloons, I think, and like they have a board game, and like I think like SpongeBob and like Patrick, I believe SpongeBob and Patrick are playing the board game, and they're just having a good like wholesome good time, and they're playing the board game, and then Mr. Krabs like wants to play as well, and he gets way too into the board game, right? Like, and again, it's kids find it funny because they're just like, Mr. Krabs, like, you're doing too much. But it's like adults can relate to like that one person that just like has way too much energy for a particular like day or night or game night or whatever. And it's like, yo, you gotta go home. Like, we gotta go to sleep. All right, we got stuff to do. We got stuff to do the next day or whatever. You know what I mean? And like Mr. Krabs is like that person, and then he takes it like way too far. He's like, I want to start playing the game. I love this game, right? And it's also like because like he's greedy, like he's a greedy person, right? So he legit makes a map out of like a treasure map that he fools SpongeBob and Patrick into believing is like gonna lead them to real treasure, and he makes something out of that, and it's like, and you're just like laughing at it because you know that like Mr. Krabs is just gone off the deep end, and SpongeBob and Patrick are like, yo, we're gonna find some treasure, it's gonna be dope. And then I think that like the map actually ends up being something real, right? Like it ends up being like real, but like they want to see the map, and it's just like a funny moment because like they like at first like they're just like scanning the map with like their eyes literally like poke out of their heads, and it's like scanning like the paper, and they're like, oh, we want to see the map, let's see the map, let's look at the map, and then their eyes pop back, and they're like, and especially was like Patrick, and Patrick's like, yeah. Is this the game that we were playing with Mr. Krabs? And it's just like so funny because like when you realize that they found it out, they're like, yo, Mr. Krabs is gone like insane. Like he needs help. Stop this man. It's really, really good. That episode is so good. There's so many good episodes. So many good episodes. Yeah, the perfume department. That's another one that like my brothers and I love. We love that. Because that's so real. It's such like that's a scene that's for adults. Like it's for adults, but like kids also just kind of laugh because they're like, haha, you know, funny smelling cloud like is making SpongeBob and Patrick cough, and like they don't like it, and ha ha ha, it's funny. You know what I mean? But like adults are like, yo, we've been to the Macy's, we've been to the stores where they spray the perfume and they do that without your permission, and you're just like, oh, come on, why did you do that? You know what I mean? It's just like, yo, the episode where they got the paint on Mr. Krabs' dollar is really, really good. Because it was just like, it's just easy. Just, you know, just get some saliva on it and it comes right off. No problem. But they were panicking so much. And the thing is, like, again, like that episode is also just teaching you a lesson about like when you have some sort of issue, just take care of it sooner rather than later. Because when you wait later, it gets to a place where it's just like things have gotten bad, and then it takes a lot of work to rectify the situation, and you're just like, you wouldn't have had to do all that work if you just got into it a bit sooner. You know what I mean? So it's just like, it's just a really, really good episode. And they just slowly make the dollar just like worse and worse and worse until they can't even see the dollar anymore, and they can only see the white paint. It's just really, really funny. And then they put all these like portraits in front of it, and it's like 16 portraits. This is really, really good. Yeah. The one with Spider-Man handing Gary like a bar of soap. Yo, that one was really, really funny too. And tell him don't drop it. Gary is like a dope like character. I love Gary. Gary like legit reminds me of like one of my cats. Like I'm pretty sure like one of my cats is like plotting world domination or something. Right? Like that movie Cats versus Dogs. Like I'm pretty sure like one of my cats or all of them are like working together in some secret layer and like putting things together. But the Suds episode was funny, grotesque, but really funny because like you completely understood how SpongeBob was feeling, and like you understood what it felt like to go into work or to want to go into work, even though you should just stay home, like right. But you're like, I can't stay home. I gotta make sure I make this money. I got stuff I gotta do. Blah 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 blah. You know what I mean? So it's like stuff like that is like you get it. You know what I mean? Like you get it. Let me see. The and the Suds episode was like super like grotesque. That's what I was sort of talking about earlier, right? Where it's like it's a grotesque episode because SpongeBob was like eyes literally falling off of his body, and you're like, ugh. But like kids find that funny. Like some kids like they'll be like, oh, that's gross. But like some kids would be like, they just laugh because for whatever reason, like they have like they have like a weird sense of humor, and like my fiance is someone like that who has a weird sense of humor. Like there are certain things that just will have her like cracking up in laughter that a lot of other people will just be like, I don't know why you find that funny necessarily, or why you find it so funny. But like I get it. Like I totally get her sense of humor. A lot of the things that she shows me, like certain movies and stuff like that, hilarious. Like I love it. Like always super funny. I think that's probably one of the reasons why we work so well. Which one? Let me see. Oh, I don't need it. Of course, man. Episode 1, man. Episode 1 is, I think it's one of the best first episodes of a cartoon ever. If I had to pick like top 5 like first episodes for cartoons, that one would be there because it's split into 2, right? It's split into two episodes. I feel like one of them is like the Tree Dome, and the other one is I believe SpongeBob is trying to get like a job at the Krusty Krab, I think. But let me see. Let me make sure. Yeah, so one is tea at the tree, tree at the blah blah. Yeah, so it's like tea at the Tree Dome, and there's another one. Yeah, so like there's the Reef Blower, which is like a short, which is also really funny, and then and that one nobody speaks, so it's like it showcases like just what goes into the humor in SpongeBob. It's like it's both. It's like something that like Naya I think would really like appreciate, even though Naya doesn't like. I believe Naya doesn't like SpongeBob, which is odd to me because I feel like that's something that he would love, but I don't know. I feel like it's something that he should love, but if he doesn't, a lot of people don't. My fiance can't stand SpongeBob because of his voice. But like Help Wanted, right? Like the Krusty Krab, like where he's like just like Patty flipping king, and then Tea at the Tree Dome, which is like a goat episode. Okay, he's like, I don't need it, definitely don't need it, and then he's just like, I don't need it, I need it. It's just so funny, so funny. That's like a good episode. It's such a good episode. I love that episode because it's just like peer pressure that you put on yourself. Sandy ain't putting on no type of pressure on SpongeBob, right? Sandy's like, yo, you want to come? Great, right? SpongeBob could have just said, sorry, I can't make it. I need water. So like maybe we can have something set up, right? But it's also like, again, it's another episode that's sort of teaching you like, yo, you gotta be vocal about things in certain moments. You can't just be like, oh, I'm gonna go to the barbecue and be like, I'll be all right, even though you're allergic to gluten or whatever, and they don't have gluten-free like buns. You know what I mean? It's like, no, you can't do that. Like you gotta be vocal about that. Otherwise they will kill you. They will send you to the hospital. You will send yourself to the hospital. Don't do that. So it's like SpongeBob is going in there just like he doesn't even know what right. But of course, like he doesn't expect it. Because SpongeBob has no idea that squirrels breathe air, right? Like he has no clue. So it's just funny because it's like, yo, it's again teaching kids about like aquatic life, right? And Steven Hillenburg was a marine biologist, so it makes total sense of like this that SpongeBob SquarePants would be a cartoon that he'd make up, right? But it's teaching kids little things, right? Not only about aquatic life, and how they breathe and how they breathe differently than mammals, right? But like, it's also like teaching them about like just like societal pressures. Oftentimes, the type of pressures that we put on ourselves, and what and how important it is to like speak up about things that make you uncomfortable or are literally going to keep you safe, right? So it's like, it's just so good. It's just such a good episode. And SpongeBob is trying so hard to impress Sandy, and it's like, dudes do this all the time. People do this all the time, right? It's not just dudes, but it's like people do this all the time. They will try to impress someone that they like or they're interested in or they want to be friends with or whatever. So they will do something that is totally antithetical to their well-being, right? To their well-being. And it's like, nah, don't do that. Right? But SpongeBob is going hard. He's going hard trying to be Sandy's friend. And he's dying. He's like literally dying. All right? Like, don't do that. Don't do that. All right? It's just really, really funny. Really funny episode. And Patrick just makes it, he just adds to the hilarity, right? SpongeBob is slowly dying. Patrick comes in and you're like, and you know that Patrick's probably not going to fix this, right? You know, Patrick is like, you just kind of have an idea, right? The way that sort of Patrick is, like, the man is giving SpongeBob the advice, when in doubt, pinky out. Like that's the advice that he's giving him. Like, he's giving him that advice. That's not going to help SpongeBob. That ain't going to help SpongeBob. Okay? So you already know, even from the first episode, that Patrick is not a helpful friend for the most part, right? There's some moments where he can be helpful, but in this moment he ain't gonna be helpful, right? So he goes in not knowing that squirrels breathe air and they don't take in oxygen through just air, like they do that through water, you know what I mean? And it's like, bruh. And now there's two people that are slowly dying, and then they both like end up just like dehydrated, like totally dehydrated, and they're just like, and then Sandy finds them, and they're both just like dry, like they're like a dry starfish and a dry like sponge, and it's really, really funny. And then yeah, and it's a good episode. It's just a phenomenal episode. It's really well done. The little it's a little bits of humor, right? So like right, and like it's like when Patrick gave him the advice to put his pinky up, right? He's like, this is a dumb bit of advice. Like, that's not gonna help anything. But then SpongeBob tries to take the advice, and and of course it does absolutely nothing. All it does is make it worse. And you're, as a kid and an adult, you're just cracking up laughing because you're like, dude, like, he's trying to keep his pinky up, but he's just getting drier and drier as time goes on. And the pinky's actually making it, and him doing that is actually exerting more energy and is making him drier and drier as time goes along. It's just really, really funny. And then even his hand rolls up, and you're just like, bruh, this is a good episode. R.I.P. Oh man, there's so many good moments, man. Oh man. Yeah, SpongeBob. I mean, again, it's just like this beautiful critique on like just awful capitalist labor, right? Just like awful people who would just be on some like Animal Farm type stuff, right? Like Mr. Krabs is on some like Napoleon type stuff. Just like, I'm gonna give you the bare minimum for the most amount of work. Terrible. One of the most iconic episodes where Sandy leaves Patrick and SpongeBob to take care of a cat. Oh yeah, in terms of yep. And then the butterfly is just like destroying everything, and it's like stuff like that is just really funny because like it's like the randomest creatures that you're like, really? Like the butterfly is gonna destroy the town. It's really, really funny. Like stuff like that. I think that's another thing that made SpongeBob awesome. Just made it amazing. You just didn't expect it. When it happened, you're like, yo, this isn't gonna end well, and it's gonna be hilarious. R.I.P. Pants, woo, classic. R.I.P. Pants is a classic, man. R.I.P. Pants, man. And that might be like the first time where we hear SpongeBob, like SpongeBob's voice, and he's singing, and it's like a soulful like voice. You're like, hey, SpongeBob. You know what I mean? He's just really, really good. And but it's just so funny because it's like he's trying really hard to like just like impress everybody and do all this stuff. And like and at first it's like everyone sort of like he wears his pants and people sort of find it funny, and then he starts doing it, but then he starts doing it over and over and over and over and over, and then nobody finds it funny anymore after a certain point. And it's just really good because it's like, yo, the thing that's great about it is like there is a way to, right? It's a critique on like humor. It's like a meta critique on like cartoon humor. Like there are gags, and there are ways to use the gags, right? Like R.I.P Pants on its own is like, haha. Usually you see that once, but over and over and over, you're just like, yo, that's not funny. And you just like SpongeBob. Why are you being so annoying? And even the kids, like you'll watch a child watch an episode like that, and they'll just be like, come on, man. You know what I mean? Yo, the Laugh Box episode was really goat. That is a goat. That is a goat episode. Yo, facts. Big facts, Fervin. Yo, I'll see you later, Fervin. But thank you for coming through, man. It's always great to have people just come through and talk about like, you know, just like nostalgic moments and talk about stuff that we love. Like SpongeBob is GOAT, man. It's GOAT. All right. What was I talking about? Oh, like just like that critique on like humor, right? Like the gag itself is just like whatever. And kids like they don't want to hear a joke over and over and over and over, right? Like they're acutely aware of that stuff. So you can't like be making the same jokes. You gotta switch it up, right? Or if you're making like a similar joke, like it's something that they might want to hear all the time, then you don't. But R.I.P Pants, after a while, it's like boo. Everybody's like, man, get out of here with that weak R.I.P Pants joke that you've been saying, you know, doing since the beginning of time, right? Like they're just like, boo, that's whack. And then he's got to figure out how to like, right? He's got to figure out how to like, you know, make up something for something that'll be interesting again. And he right, and like he doesn't even really mean to do it. He just like sings a song that's like, I'm sorry that I was doing the R.I.P Pants thing so often and I made it corny and boring and whack. And it just and that ends up like working. But it's like, again, like it's another like critique where it's like you have to, right? You can have classic gags and classic things that are funny, but sometimes it'll work if you do it once, but you also have to try to do different things with those classic gags. And like that's kind of how humor works and how humor evolves. And it's just, again, it's just like really, really smart. These episodes are just really, really smart episodes. Like Steven Hillenburg was on point, man. The writers and like animators, the artists, all on point. On point. Like the people who were doing like, right, the voice actors, like they all just came together to make beautiful, beautiful things. There are so many episodes that are good. I can talk about this all day. Let me see what time it is. But I would say that this is a good like amount of time for like the stream. Because like I gotta go to bed. Like I gotta go to bed. I gotta make sure I wake up tomorrow pretty early so I can get some work done because I'm always working. I always got work to get done. There's a few things that I gotta finish up, and then once I get that done, then I'll probably do another stream tomorrow after work. I don't know what that stream is gonna be on, but it'll probably be. I'll probably start out like another readathon. So at some point, I definitely want to do I want to run through like the My Hero chapters. Like I want to just do like a read through, which is going to be a long one. I don't know when that's going to be. It'll be a weekend, because I want to bring My Hero back into the spot that Hunter x Hunter has, right? So it'll be like I'll be reacting to The Promised Neverland and My Hero definitively. And then I got to get back to like some of these other manga that I haven't been like looking at weekly, like Black Clover and Dr. Stone and stuff like that, because people have said that those are fire. So I want to do that. So I'm gonna end the stream now. But yo, thank y'all for coming through, man. There are so many amazing moments. So many amazing moments. I can't keep up. Like I can't keep up. You know what I mean? So again, like thank y'all for coming through, man. Like y'all reminded me of so many moments. Y'all reminded me of so many moments. That I have to reevaluate like a top 5 like SpongeBob episodes. I couldn't really do it if I had to right now. Like if I had to like pick top 5 SpongeBob episodes. I mean, I guess it would be like Texas would be one. Texas, the hooks, the I think the Rock Band episode. That's those 3 were definitely top 5. The one where Plankton tries to be where he tries to make SpongeBob like a bad like person. That one is definitely top 5. And first episode, right? Teeth of Tree Dome. Yeah. Like those would probably be my top 5 for now. Krusty Krab Pizza would have to be on there too. Like I think I need a top 10. But like those are my 5 for now. But it's just like, yo, Key, come on. That's it's from the Hooks episode, man. Do you smell it? That smell. The kind of smelly smell. A smelly smell that smells smelly. Yo, you know what's funny? Like a few days ago, I was thinking about it. I was thinking about SpongeBob, and I was like saying that to my fiance, and she had no idea what I was talking about. And she was like, "Yo, babe, what are you talking about?" And I was like, "SpongeBob." And SpongeBob is so good, man. Too many moments. I can't, man. It's too much. Anchovies, yo, Jeff. Oh man, yo, shout out to my my brother Jeff. Shout out to you, man. Jeff, watch the stream when you get a chance, because I gotta end the stream. I gotta end the stream now. But when you get the chance, watch the stream. Yo. They're out. It's so good. Oh my goodness. It's too much, man. All right. Also, yeah, watch the stream when you get the chance, and then we'll catch up. And then we'll definitely catch up. We'll definitely catch up, man. There are too many SpongeBob moments to count, man. It's too many. But my brother knows what it is, right? We like there are two things that connect all of us brothers, like SpongeBob and The Simpsons. Like those two things, like we could talk about those two things separately, legit for like an entire day. Like if there was an entire day and it was just us together and we had to talk about nothing but SpongeBob for the entire day, 24 hours, easy work. If it was Simpsons, same thing. Like that's what we grew up on. Like that's what we like watch all the time. So it's stuff like that that is like, you know, that's kind of stuff that binds you, you know. And that's why, again, like for me, like hearing about the death of the creator of SpongeBob is like it hits you because it connects to so many other things outside of like the cartoon. The cartoon brought me together with like so many people, including my family. You know what I mean? So, man, so rest in peace, Steven Hillenburg, man, because just brought something into this world that is so crucial to so many people, and I think in a lot of ways, structured like a lot of our senses of humor. You know what I mean? Like constructed our senses of humor. So, man, shouts out to the GOAT, man. All right, I gotta get out of here because like I need to get some sleep because I got so much work to do tomorrow. Like I've been so busy. Oh my goodness. But shout out to everybody that came through in the chat. Special shout out to my brother Jeff. You know, one of the best people I know. All right. And I gotta get out of here. I gotta get some sleep. I gotta go, you know, be with my fiance. All right. And yeah. Thank y'all for coming through, man. You know, the channel is like doing its thing. Twitter is great. Life is generally good. It's busy, but it's good. And I gotta get out of here. All right. So, shouts to everybody that came through. I'm the Black Manga Critic, and I'm out ya.